What's going on, guys? Welcome back. And today I am finally going to be talking about a film which I've been intending to talk about for quite a while, and that film is none other than Top Gun: Maverick. Now, when this film released all the way back in May, I heard nothing but praise for it, people claiming that it was one of, if not the best film to have released so far this year, and considering that I'm a pretty big fan of Tom Cruise and his work, especially on the Mission Impossible films, I figured there was no reason why this film would be any different. I finally got around to watching it about a month ago, and my initial reaction was that it was awesome. I had an absolute blast watching it. However, after letting it marinate for a while, talking to my family and friends, as well as analyzing it myself, I came to the conclusion that it was entertaining, well-made, and certainly above average for a modern blockbuster, but nothing more than that. The fact that people are claiming this is some sort of masterpiece is mildly absurd to me. So today I will be analyzing Top Gun: Maverick to the best of my ability and explaining why I feel it is extremely overhyped. To start things off, I do want to clarify that I don't think this film is bad. As I said, in the moment, it was a very entertaining experience, and the main thing that everyone has been praising it for, the flying sequences, are extremely well made on a technical level, and Tom Cruise's commitment to this type of practical action is highly commendable. But aside from those action sequences, this film doesn't have a lot of substance. As a matter of fact, the reception of this film reminds me quite a bit of Tenet, the Christopher Nolan film from 2 years ago, which also had very well-made action scenes, but everything surrounding those action scenes was convoluted and incomprehensible. The script was awful. All of the characters felt like exposition robots. And that is why I feel Top Gun: Maverick is slightly better than Tenet, because the characters actually have personality, and they don't just feel like robots. With that being said, though, the script is still pretty bad, and at points, borderline nonsensical. For example, at the beginning of the film, Maverick attends this meeting with a general who informs him that they are planning a high-risk military strike on their enemy base. Maverick obviously assumes that they want him to fly this mission. However, the general says this:
"We don't want you to fly it. We want you to teach it."
But shortly afterwards, once Maverick shows skepticism of the mission, the general says that he will fly this mission, otherwise they'll essentially kick him out of the program. Wait. Didn't you just say you wanted him to teach the mission and not fly it? Did you guys forget to proofread your script? It's very obvious that the writers wanted to get Maverick involved in this mission, and they chose whatever means necessary to get him to that point, regardless if the dialogue actually makes any sense. And aside from several of those very obvious flaws in the writing, I just found a lot of this film to be extremely corny and cliché. They introduced this love interest for Maverick, who I suppose he met at some point off-screen in between this film and the last one, but everything with that character was extremely unnecessary and dragged down the film. Even the relationship between Maverick and Rooster I didn't think was that good. Maverick pulled his papers from the academy, which set him back several years, and Rooster blames Maverick for the death of his father. But they never really resolve their conflict, despite what the film might lead you to believe. Maverick just sends him on the dangerous mission, despite full well knowing he's not ready for it, which of course nearly gets them killed. Their shared experiences help them get over their differences, I guess. Likewise with the character Hangman, this stereotypical cocky pilot who's very narcissistic and full of himself, but who of course pulls through in the end and saves them in their moment of need. I thought the story of this film was going to be about Maverick training these pilots, and they would slowly show their buildup of skills. But instead, they fail at every turn until the end, where they're conveniently able to pull off every maneuver with ease. This reminds me of the Book of Boba Fett, with Boba Fett claiming he wanted to learn how to ride the Rancor, only for him to show up in the end perfectly riding a Rancor without there being any build-up to that. I also found that the aforementioned action scenes, while being entertaining, were almost completely devoid of any logic. For example, going into the final dogfight between Maverick, Rooster, and their opponents, Maverick states that their craft is far less advanced, or at least not as well equipped for combat as the enemy ships. However, Maverick slices the tail fins off of one of the enemy crafts in 5 seconds, and they get pursued by another enemy craft that hits them multiple times, but all that happens is Rooster saying, "We can't take much more of this." The characters essentially have plot armor until the plot demands that they no longer have armor. And that leads me into my biggest problem with this film, which is that Maverick is an extremely boring protagonist because he's essentially infallible and completely incapable of taking any damage. To illustrate my point, I'll compare him to another one of Tom Cruise's most well-known roles, Ethan Hunt in the Mission Impossible franchise. As the title implies, the missions that Ethan Hunt is asked to accept are damn near impossible, which means there are several obstacles for him to overcome, and sometimes he's nearly incapable of overcoming them. Hell, at the end of the third film, he literally would have died if not for his wife being there to save him, and in Mission Impossible 6, he ends up in a hospital bed by the end because of him crashing a helicopter into a mountain in order to stop the villain. Ethan is also asked to make some very difficult decisions, particularly in Mission Impossible Fallout, which challenge his morality. Will he choose the greater good above the lives of his friends? I'll leave a card up above to a video by Phil Mento, which explains this concept far better than I will ever be able to, but the point is that Ethan Hunt is a fallible character, both physically and morally. Maverick, on the other hand, is the polar opposite of that. In the opening scene of the film, he crashes a jet, but we don't even see the crash, and instead cut to him walking down the road completely unscathed. Likewise, towards the end of the film, he sacrifices himself to save Rooster from the enemy. We have an incredibly drawn-out scene mourning his fake death, and cut back to him, once again completely unscathed. But that's not even the end of it, because he then survives getting shot at in close range by a helicopter. I'm not kidding. In a Mission Impossible film, which is a little more tongue-in-cheek and self-aware, I wouldn't even mind this. But this film is very insistent upon having real drama and real stakes. So when Maverick constantly survives situations that are incredibly unrealistic for humans to survive, it robs the film of a lot of tension. In regards to making difficult decisions, Maverick made his hardest one before the film even began, sabotaging his relationship with Rooster by setting him back in his career, trying to honor the promise he made to his mother to protect him. That's pretty much the extent of it. Throughout the rest of the film, Maverick is faced with very few decisions which challenge him morally or otherwise. I've seen a lot of people referring to Ethan Hunt as being Tom Cruise's self-insert character, but I feel they're incredibly wrong on that front. Maverick is that character. Tom Cruise literally believes he is Maverick, the idealistic American hero with a heart of gold who goes around pulling off crazy feats without facing any repercussions. With that being said, those are all the reasons why I feel Top Gun Maverick is incredibly overhyped. And the main reason for that is because we as an audience have incredibly low expectations for modern movies. We have become accustomed to movies that aren't even movies. Instead, they are green screen blob products. So whenever a film comes along that is actually well shot and uses practical effects, it feels like the holy grail of cinema. Well, in reality, it's riddled with problems. Hell, this isn't even one of the best blockbusters to have released this year. When comparing it to films like The Secrets of Dumbledore or The Batman, those films tell infinitely better stories that contain pretty deep messages when looking past the surface level. I had a fun time watching Top Gun Maverick, but it's just a popcorn flick. Nothing more and nothing less. But you guys let me know. What are your thoughts on Top Gun Maverick? Do you agree with me or do you disagree with me and think that I don't understand the true complexity of Top Gun Maverick? Just whatever your thoughts are, please let me know them all in the comments below. And of course, as always, I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.